Hi everybody, my name's Patrick. I'm a shaman from Kentucky. How you doing? I'm not just part from any old part of Kentucky. I'm from Edgar Casey's hometown. I hail from Edgar Casey's hometown. Hello, how you doing? Now, the way you perceive reality is based on a variety of factors.
Wait, yeah, I'm going to drop that. I'm going to drop that real quick. I'm not going to do a whole video like that. Hello, welcome. I am in color. I decided to be color for this video. I'm not good with hair, makeup, or lighting yet, but I will get better at it. I will get better at it. I will come to you in living color. Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? I prefer color. I like color. My eyes are blue, by the way, and my beard is gray. So today on the Shaman Patrick Show, we're going to use a gay meme. And I'm going to explain to you how reality works. Not really, how you perceive reality. Because the way you perceive reality may not be reality. Are you ready for this episode? Let's go.
He was once a storm in human form, sharp tongue, cold soul, heart worn and torn, living like a ghost who missed his grave till the spirit sang out and called him brave. He got rewired by the great unknown, heard the call like a dial tone to the bone. So pull up a chair, enjoy the glow. This is the Shaman Patrick Show.
As a shaman who also happens to be a gay man, I perceive reality maybe different than you do. Other non-gay shaman people. We talk about that a lot on this channel. How you perceive reality may not be reality. Like I think making shamanism great again is a great idea, but you know, Christians would not like that very much at all. So today we're going to use a gay meme as a teaching tool, as a teaching device. And we're going to explore that gay meme, and we're going to talk about that gay meme. And we're also going to talk about how your beliefs, thoughts, and opinions inform your reality. So let's get started. This meme has been kicking around for a few years, so let's look at it. Lifeguard surprised how many gay guys can't swim. At least 10 a day. So let's talk about this guy in the picture. Let's talk about him. He's pretty built. He looks pretty good. Young, healthy, handsome. I mean, I'd want to be saved by him. I'd want to touch him. I would. I think a lot of people would want to say, can I feel that? So, but he's probably straight. He's probably straight. You'll probably never have an opportunity to be close to this guy at all. Now, I'm not that type of gay guy, but I do know of gay guys who are like that. I haven't been that way since I got married, essentially. The only guy that I want to hold that way is my husband. Thank you very much. And Chris Evans, maybe. Glenn Powell. Noah Centino, maybe those guys. But that guy, yeah, I could see a lot of gay men wanting to touch him. A lot of ladies too. Yeah, I could see that. So let's look at life from this guy's perspective. He might think that gay guys can't swim. The majority of gay guys can't swim. Never realizing that gay men are probably very good swimmers. Very good swimmers. I know gay guys love being in the pool. I know I've been to enough pool parties to know that. So let's from the perspective of that guy, you know, he's very handsome as well. He probably causes people to feel some type of way when they see him. I mean, I know I've been in areas where a hot guy walks into a room and everybody just gets quiet. The girls kind of look at each other. So he might think that people are just quiet. People don't talk all that much. You know, people don't talk that much at all. People are just quiet. But he also might have this going on with him. He might be so beautiful and good looking that nobody ever tells him that he's good looking or handsome. So he may never know just how good looking he is. He might look in the mirror and say, gosh, I'm ugly. Nobody tells him that he's beautiful. So he might never know how beautiful he is. He may be perceiving reality in a way that is highly, highly, highly inaccurate. It's not real. Now, let's say that you talk to him and you try to tell him, oh, you're really handsome. And he would say, what do you mean by that? What are you getting at? He might think that you're trying to use him. And in fact, you're just paying him a compliment. He doesn't hear that from people very often. How do I know this? Because I know guys like that. I know guys like that. I've told guys they were really handsome. They go, really? Here they are, just built, good looking. And I'm like, you're a great looking guy. And they're like, really? I've never heard that before. This is true. This happens. This goes on a lot. Women too. I've told women, I'm like, you're really pretty. They don't know that they're pretty. They look in the mirror. They don't see it because nobody tells them that. How would they know? Do you think people are in the habit of looking in a mirror and going, my God, you are incredible looking? I don't know anybody that does that. I know people who look in the mirror like, man, I gotta do some more work on myself. I gotta get bigger. I gotta get skinnier. So all of this that I told you about this guy in this meme, and my perception of this guy in this meme may be inaccurate as well. It may be inaccurate. He may be gay, and he may be saving guys, but he doesn't want anybody to know he's gay. And so the only time he ever gets to hold on to another man is when he's saving them. And so he is being interviewed by a reporter, and they notice that he's saving all these guys, and the reporter is saying, why do you save all of these men? And he said, you know what? I'm just as surprised as you are that gay guys can't swim. I'm just getting into this water and carrying these men out. So yeah, he's not telling the truth about what's really going on. So there's a lot of ways that we can look at this meme and understand that the way that we're perceiving reality, news stories, anything, may not be the truth about it all. So what are we going to do? What's the goal of all this, Patrick? Now, I'm going to tell you, don't try to correct people in their delusions or their assumptions. Don't try to correct people at all. They will get mad at you. And also, I learned the hard way to not cast your pearls before swine. Now, what does that mean? When you share spiritual wisdom with people, good news, if you try to calm people down before they're ready for it, they will turn and attack you. I had a content creator strike my channel for trying to calm people down about some of the things that she was talking about. Like, she wants her followers to be scared, apparently. So I learned that I cast my pearls before that swine, and that swine turned and attacked me, essentially. So you don't try to be out there in the world correcting people or saying that the way that they're perceiving reality is incorrect. This is all about you and you understanding that the way that you perceive reality may not be reality. Are you okay with that? Could you be willing to be wrong? You know, a couple episodes ago, I made a video about how to be wrong. Could you be wrong? How could you be wrong and be okay with it? You know, you do enough shadow work, you do enough work on your ego, you start to get really excited for being wrong about stuff. Like, oh my gosh, thank God I was wrong about that. You know, let's take a tragedy that may or may not have happened in the past that killed millions of people. I'm inventing something here. So what if that turned out to not be true, or a psychological operation, or not all that bad? Wouldn't you be relieved? Wouldn't you be relieved to know that that was incorrect? I'm not going to try to correct anybody's beliefs about this, but I'm just going to say COVID was the flu renamed. How do you know this? Well, there were absolutely very few, almost no flu deaths The second year of COVID. The flu completely disappeared. So we know that COVID was the flu that they renamed to puff up the numbers of death. For what purpose? I don't know. But I was relieved to know that it wasn't that deadly of a disease. That if you're a healthy person, probably wasn't going to affect you. I was relieved to know that. I was relieved to know that the world is not a scary place. I was relieved to know that corporations and oligarchs and all of that type of thing can only have as much effect on me as I allow it to. I was relieved to know that technology could not control me as long as I didn't really have a dominant ego. I was relieved to know these things, relieved to know them. But you would be surprised if people are told that things are not as bad as they think they are. There's something in them, we know what that is, that will not allow them to see reality as it actually is. Because if they were to see reality as it actually is, what would that mean for them? Oh, well, they would have to admit that they were wrong about something. And you know what? People aren't doing that. People just aren't going to do that. You understand? They are not going to be wrong about something. And so they would be willing to put themselves through all sorts of torture, disease, financial problems, just to have the idea that they are right. And the saddest part about this is that it doesn't mean that they are right at all. You could still be wrong and think that you're right and experiencing all the damaging, devastating effects of it. Wouldn't you rather be right than wrong? So let's get a little scientific and technical about it, because shamans are scientists. Really, everything that I talk about has been field tested here. I am my own guinea pig. I will try things out on myself first before I share them with you. But this knowledge is commonly known. You do not have to look very hard to get this knowledge. Now, whether or not you can convert it into wisdom is another thing entirely. But honey, I think you can. I totally think you can. All right, so let's look at this. Here, if you wanted to know how you perceive reality, let's look at this. This is on Google. You can ask questions of AI and it'll give you answers. It'll give you sources where it gets stuff. AI is a great research tool. Like you used to would have to read Psychology Today. Who really likes reading Psychology Today? Not me. But Greater Good, yeah, I might read that. But see, look, you could read all of these articles. And you used to could do that. You could. Or you can just get an overview of stuff. And then you can decide to do more research if you want. So how do you perceive reality? It's a brain-constructed experience of the world, formed by the brain interpreting sensory data through a combination of bottom-up sensory input and top-down past experiences, expectations, emotions, processes. This means your personal reality is a subjective reconstruction rather than an objective reflection of the world, influenced by individual factors like genetics, beliefs, and experiences. So reality for a woman is going to be different than the reality for a man. The reality for my cat is a lot different than the reality for the tree in our front yard. Whose perception of reality is the correct one? Well, the sad reality is that we'll never know. We'll never know whose reality is the correct one. This is beneficial when we get too up high in our head, when we start to think that we've figured something out, when we know when something is going on. If we're looking at Twitter, upset about psyops and stuff like that, we don't know what's really going on. None of us can really ever know what's going on. So why bother? Why bother trying to figure things out? Why not just decide to go into the vertical dimension? Now, what's that vertical dimension? It's the present moment. And in that present moment, all sorts of wonderful things happen, like nothing at all. Nothing at all goes on in the present moment. You're just in that present moment. You're just there in that present moment. Nothing serious is going on. In fact, there is so little serious going on in the present moment that you start to feel immortal. You start to feel immortal in the present moment. Now, it's not easy to get into the present moment, especially if you have a history of trauma, pain, bad experiences, poverty, abuse. It's very difficult to get into that present moment because your life might be at stake. You might be stuck in survival mode. But even if you are in a desperate situation, you can get present. When you get present, you stop the momentum of all that garbage. You just stop it. It just stops and you're there. Because see, if you're worried about the past or if you're fearful of the future, the present moment isn't available to you. And I know it takes a lot of work. This is not easy. I might be making it sound pretty easy, but it's not easy. I know that. I've been working on this for years, and I've only recently gained the ability to go, oh, I'm going to be present. Like that. You know what? I'm going to be present. I mean, it takes a lot of work. I'm not trying to say that this is easy. It's not. But if you try and if you practice, eventually you will be able to go. Now, you might have to do some research or education on how you might be perceiving reality incorrectly. If you think the world is a scary place and that there's lots of evil out in the world and that there's lots of people who mean you harm, that is perceiving reality incorrectly. Actually, the world is fine. There's nothing serious going on. And if you didn't have access to a TV or a phone, what would you know about what's going on in the world? You probably wouldn't know much. You probably wouldn't know much at all. And so if you feel like you're anxious over psyops, assassination attempts, actual assassinations, world leaders, world events, techno-feudalism, Palantir, all this, if you find that you're worried about all this stuff, what does it have to do with you? Nothing. Nothing at all. Now, if you think that it has something to do with you, you're on the wrong channel. Okay? This is a shaman's channel. So I'm telling you, if you're worried about the future, this stuff is not for you. Shamanism is not for you. If you're worried about the future, let me tell you where to go. Make an appointment with a psychologist or a psychiatrist and ask them to put you into a mental institution. Psychiatry and psychology is for you if you are worried about the future. Because a spiritually awakened person is not going to be worried about the future. So if you're worried about the future, the responsibility is on you and helping you awaken even further. Don't believe the fearmonger spiritual teachers. Don't believe the spiritual teachers who are telling you, you must be afraid of what's coming. What's coming is the present moment. It's always the present moment. And you can go into that vertical dimension at any time. If you are worried about the future or the past, you're not being present. It's very simple and clean. I know it's not easy to get there. But once you get there, you're there. And you can go there anytime. If you want, you can be present and decide, you know what? I think I'm going to worry about something today. You know what? I'm feeling kind of bold and brave and sassy. I think I'm going to root around on the internet to find something to be afraid of. Or even worse, I'm going to look around on the internet, or I'm going to go to the bad part of town. I think I'm going to go down a dark alley and see if I can't get stabbed today. You know what? I think I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of heroin addicts and see if I can't pick up a heroin habit. you know what? I may as well just get addicted to meth. Why not? If the world is going to hell, I may as well be high during it. No, of course, nobody thinks that stuff, but that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing when you're looking out into the world to find things to be upset about. Now, if you are in a place where it's dangerous, if you are in a situation that is bad for you, go get help. Turn off this video and call a domestic violence hotline and get the help that you need. If you are currently homeless or in a bad situation, currently there are programs to help you not be homeless. Nobody has to be homeless. Nobody has to be a drug addict. Nobody has to be in an abusive situation. Not anymore. That's how good the world has gotten. That's how great the world has gotten. Because you don't have to be any of those things anymore. And the reason you might look out and say, well, there's a lot of crime in the world. There's a lot of drug addiction in the world. Sometimes people talk about these things as if they're normal or natural. Like, oh yeah. But do you see that is the aberration? That's the abnormalcy of it. That is the ego in its late stages. Because even though you don't have to, nobody has to be homeless. I say this because I used to be homeless. For me to not be homeless, I actually had to apply to the programs and also be sober. And the sad fact is many people will choose homelessness because they want to keep using illegal drugs. That's the sad fact of the matter. So if you think that people are just homeless, oh, these poor people who are just homeless. No, that's not true. Because if somebody was in their right mind, they would not be homeless. If somebody was in their right mind, they would not be using illegal drugs and sleeping on the street. So obviously something's wrong, right? Obviously something is screwed up in a lot of people's heads, right? So that's a misperception of reality, that these things just kind of go on, right? What are you going to do about it? Well, you're going to tell people being homeless is crazy. Don't be homeless. You don't have to be homeless. There are so many programs out there. Look, they put me in a mental institution. Okay? So eventually, you will, cities that allow homelessness and crime and all of that kind of stuff, those days are coming to an end. Order will be restored. And I don't think you're going to like the way order is restored. So I'm giving everybody a heads up. Hey, those days are over. Okay? And what did we learn from them? We learned that we should actually try to fucking help people. But look, if I were allowed to be homeless instead of being in a mental, somebody loved me enough to get me put into a mental institution. You hear that? Somebody cared enough about me to get me locked into an asylum, essentially. And some people think putting people in asylums is a bad thing. Well, I'm here to tell you, it saved my fucking life. It saved my life. It sorted me out. It gave me some time to think about my life and the choices I had made. And it gave me time to not have to worry about bills and a place to sleep or eat or live so that I could actually heal. So if you look out into the world and you see a bunch of homeless people and you're like, those poor people, life has treated them bad, and life has treated them bad, but we don't have to treat them even worse by not getting them the help that they need. And people generally have to want help. That's true. But in my case, I didn't want the help and they forced me to take it. They're like, here, take your medicine, Patrick. Here, take your medicine. Take your medicine. And I did that. And guess what? I live a much better life now. And so when you're perceiving reality in this way, it's incorrect. It's incorrect. So, some people like to give money to homeless people. And every time they give money, if a homeless person says they need money for gas or food, they need money for drugs. And so if you give them $20, they're just going to go buy drugs with it, and you might have just killed that person. So that's the sad reality of it. So if you're giving money to homeless people and you think you're being virtuous, you're probably killing them. That's yet another thing, another way that you could be perceiving reality incorrectly. But let's go back over to this. How your brain creates your perception of reality. Sensory input, your sensory organs, eyes, ears, etc., receive stimuli from the external world and convert them into electrical signals. And then there's brain processing. These signals are sent to the brain's sensory cortex, where they are processed and interpreted. So here's another thing about reality. You never see reality as it actually is. You only see light reflected from objects. You don't even see the objects. You just see the light reflected from those objects. So already your perception is fucked up because you're not even seeing objects. You're seeing the light reflected from them. And then your brain processes it as it all, and it makes it look like it's an object. And it's not. You're not even seeing it. And another way that your brain processes things, like it will not waste if nothing has moved in your environment. If nothing has moved in your environment, your vision will not redraw the same things. Like, so my desk has stayed the same, right? And let's say here is this copy of our last album, Shadows. It's a CD copy of our last. I'm not promoting it, just happens to be here. But I guess I will promote it. Fuck you. This is our last album, Shadows, available now at concreteshamans.com. So, and it comes with 3D glasses because it's a 3D cover. Isn't that great? So let's say that I have this CD and my brain is spending all this energy redrawing this in my brain, and I'm seeing it. And then I put it down and it doesn't move. And if it doesn't move, my brain will not waste energy on redrawing that thing. It could change. I would never know it. It could change color. It could be something different. But as soon as I put it down and it doesn't move anymore, my brain no longer wastes energy redrawing it. And let me give you another example of this. When you live in a messy house, when you live in a messy, dusty house, it's exhausting. Why? Because your brain has to spend so much energy on all the different objects and all the little dust. Let's say that it's like a computer. How many polygons does it have to churn out and pay attention to? It's exhausting to be in a messy, cluttered, dusty ass house, and like a spaceship as well. Takes a lot of mental energy and power to do that. So my house is a little cluttered. I need to clean this shit up because it's starting to exhaust me. Just lots of books and CDs and things like that. I need to put everything back on the bookshelf. It's time to clean this shit up because it's mentally exhausting. And you might confuse this exhaustion for who you really are. You might confuse that. I'm looking at some cat hair over here that I need to clean up. So, however you're perceiving reality may not be accurate at all. You might think that, oh, I'm just tired all the time. I'm just tired all the time. You may not be tired. You probably just need to grab a can of Pledge and a rag. This is the most fun and important part of all of this. So, influences on perception, past experience and knowledge. Previous experiences and what you already know influence how you understand new information. Previous experiences. So, if you got burned by a stove, you're less likely to touch a stove again, unless you're insane. I know many people touch hot stoves over again and again and again. Me. But eventually you get burned enough times you don't touch that hot stove anymore. One of my cousins, when she was a little girl, she loved the wood burning stove so much that she went up and kissed it. She burned her lips. Even though she loved the wood burning stove, she never kissed it again because it hurt. But if somebody had encouraged her to stay in relationship with that wood burning stove, She might have IBS today. All right, because emotional abuse causes IBS. There you go. Happy birthday. So here, emotions and beliefs, your feelings, values, and pre-existing notions play a significant role. If you're overly emotional, if you have rigid beliefs, some of which may be false, they're going to have a significant influence on the way that you perceive reality. Cognitive distortions, flaws in thinking can warp your understanding of events. Flaws in thinking. You know, when I was a drug user, my thinking was very warped. Not just to do with drugs, but using drugs and psychedelics and all that really warp your thinking. You really cannot have a clear thought when you're on drugs. That's why people take drugs, so they can stop thinking and stop thinking correctly, because they have this delusion that having warped thinking is actually thinking. So a lot of times these cognitive distortions can warp your understanding of events. Now, there are biological factors, genetic predispositions, and the limitations of your own senses contribute. And if you think about it, the reality to a blind person is different than the reality to somebody who can see. Reality for somebody who can't walk would be different than someone who can walk. You know, I talked about IBS. Like, I had severe IBS for years. My stomach pains were so bad that life did not feel, I didn't feel like living life a lot of times. What are you going to do? Lay down and die? I wish I could. It was so bad I wanted to die. And so many people couldn't understand why I couldn't do certain things or talk to them or go to on this trip or whatever. And I told them, well, I have intense stomach pains. And they would say, well, you don't look like you have stomach pains. Well, what do you want me to do? Cry all the time? Talk about it all the time? Complain about it all the time? So sometimes people have things going on with them that they don't want to talk about. Yeah, I told this story before. Maybe when somebody quits talking to you or needs to get off the phone or walks away from you suddenly, maybe they're not being rude. Maybe they just have to take a shit. All right, up next, we have the controlled hallucination model. Some neuroscience perspectives suggest that normal perception is like a controlled hallucination. The brain generates predictions or models of the world and then compares them to the incoming sensory data. In normal perception, the sensory data keeps these top-down predictions grounded to their causes in the world. This means the way things appear to you is a controlled hallucination, but the underlying physical reality, like a bus, still has objective qualities such as solidity that can cause harm. Let's say you hate the color yellow. The color yellow freaks you out. Well, you see a yellow school bus, you're going to hate buses. The bus is the bus. The color is the color. It's the way that you feel about it. Now, what happens when people confuse their perceptions, their beliefs, their opinions with reality? You know, I've said lots of times, there are people out there who are convinced that Donald Trump is a Nazi and that he means very bad things for America. I don't know if he means bad things for America, and it really doesn't have anything to do with me in this vertical dimension in the present moment, but they cannot be divorced from that. That when I ask them, like, what makes you think Donald Trump is a Nazi, they'll say, it's just known. It's just known. And I'm like, by who? Eventually they'll say they heard, but you can look at news stories where people say that he's a Nazi, that they equate him with Hitler. So people who are lying to you and trying to get you to perceive reality in a way that it may not be beneficial to you at all. Do the people at the top who call Trump a Nazi really believe he's a Nazi? Probably not. It's just politics. If you believe something based on politics, that's wackadoo. That's crazy. You shouldn't believe what politicians say. Do you believe what politicians say? Do you believe what the news says? Do you believe what other people say? Use the power of doubt. Don't believe yourself or anybody else. So what do you do, Patrick? What do you do? How am I expected to live in a world where everybody is lying to me? You just don't care. You stop caring. A Zen master will tell you the secret is, I don't care what happens. You just don't care anymore. And to some of you, that might sound pretty hopeless or disturbing or sad, but it frees you up. It totally frees you up. You're just like, I don't care. I don't care. And it's not in an escapey or a bypassy way. It's just, I don't fucking care. And you can be there at any time. Because see, the ego wants you to care. The ego wants you to be upset. The ego wants you to perceive reality in the way that it perceives reality. But I can guarantee you this, the ego is wrong about every single fucking thing. The ego is never right about anything. And the best way to circumvent the ego is to just not care. To not care. It's a secret superpower that you can get at any time. So I hope you like this video of using this gay meme to talk about how you perceive reality. How are you going to perceive reality after watching this video if you made it to the end? If you did make it to the end, I want to thank you for supporting the work here. Please like and subscribe, comment or use an emoji if you've got nothing to say. Share this content with others. If you would like to get something nice for yourself, head on over to our shop at concreteshamans.com, where our book, The Machinations of Ego, is on sale now. But primarily, I don't want you to forget that we love you. Yes, we do. And reality is real.
Reality is real. It doesn't bend. It keeps on being without an end. Don't lose your mind when the stories grow. Most of it's noise, you don't need to know. Stay with what's real, don't fall for the show. Take a deep breath, let the rest go. Doubt what you hear, but learn to feel. The truth is simple, the truth is real. Do you even know how to feel? What's real? Come dressed up as fact, whispering tales to pull you back. But if you're quiet and if you wait, the real thing speaks, it doesn't shout. Hey, stay with what's real, don't fall for the show. Take a deep breath, let the rest go. Doubt what you hear, but learn to feel. The truth is simple, the truth is real. Do you even want to heal? What's real? What's real? What's real? What's fake? The soul or a life to take. The heart is shallow or it can be deep. Lies that sound true might be easier to take. What's true is easy, yeah, unites, not divides. And if you are ready, the truth will arise. 'Cause I wanna be alive, just clapping home to the beat and the rhythm of a shaman's drum. Are you ready for it to arrive? No need to panic, no need to fight. The real is steady, the real is light. Open your ears, open your eyes. The real won't trick you, it never lies. Stay with what's real, don't fall for the show. Take a deep breath. what's real. Are you ready for the real? Are you ready to feel? The truth unfolds like a flower, and then you stand in the infinite power of what's real. What's real?